I don't even know where to begin with this story, but okay, so a black man murdered a young blonde white woman because he wanted to look like her. He was secretly transgender and he wanted to be a white woman, but he was a black man. This is the story. I think we've got, issues in this country with identity disorders. I think a lot of this is rooted in it is this expansive media multicultural environment, which I think negatively impacts people's self-perception in a variety of ways, which I'll get into. But let me read you this news story first. A 24-year-old brutally killed a young woman as she enjoyed a morning hike because he believed he was transgender and was jealous of her beauty. I don't know that it's fair to say, based on what he was saying, that he was jealous of her beauty. He said he wanted to look like her. Like, he is jealous. But I guess you can call it that. I don't know. Zion Teasley is accused of stabbing 29-year-old Lauren Heike 15 times after stalking her on an Arizona hiking trail in April of 2023. Police narrowed in on him thanks to DNA found in her shoe at the murder scene. What does that mean? In her shoe, probably is a typo. Police now say Teasley had been writing in his journal about his gender identity in the months leading up to the esthetician's, is that how you say it? Esthetician's murder. Quote, "I have been battling with my gender identity and sexuality," Teasley reportedly wrote in a journal entry. This is crazy stuff. "I am Christian, so this isn't allowed. I want to live a life of serving God, but how can I with these and other sins in the way? I know I am forgiven for my sins, but it's still a lot of pressure and it's hard to maintain a good Christian mindset 24/7. Prosecutors also claim Teasley was depressed and wrote alongside a screenshot, "When I see a beautiful woman and I'm a man." What? So this is the poor woman who was killed, man. And here is the young black man who wanted to be a white blonde woman. They say when police asked the alleged killer about Heike before his arrest, he reportedly said, quote, "That's what I would want to look like." Meanwhile, investigators say they found a picture of Teasley in an outfit similar to what Heike was wearing when she was killed. A well-placed camera captured the suspect following Heike and eventually returning to the area where her body was found before hopping a fence. Cops who found Heike previously said she'd been chased through over a barbed wire fence. After seeing surveillance footage of the murder suspect, Teasley allegedly replies, "That's me. I think it is. I don't know." When asked if the murder was planned, he reportedly told police, "I'm telling you, if I was going to do something like that, it definitely wouldn't be premeditated." Teasley is an ex-con with a record that goes back to 2020. He was arrested for Heike's murder just 5 months after finishing a 3-year jail sentence for robbery with a deadly weapon. Teasley, whose laundry list of crimes came after he dropped out of the Marine Corps boot camp in San Diego after just 4 months, pleaded not guilty. A probable cause affidavit later revealed the suspected killer had recently been fired from his job at a nearby sports store for being aggressive to female employees, further bolstering of investigators' yet to be proven narrative. So maybe he's a suspect and we don't know if it's him. They claim Heike was found dead on the Reach 11 trail, was chased over a barbed wire fence as she relentlessly worked to escape her attacker. Teasley's attorney are now referring to him as her in court. The alleged killer requested his trial date be pushed back 3 years, and it is now scheduled for January of 2027. So this is the woman that was a victim, and this is the suspect, the alleged killer, whose trial date's being pushed back to 2027. Now it's interesting. They say killer murdered her. They don't say alleged in the title. That's why it's interesting. I mean, they're saying he did do it, but he is alleged. And it sounds like from the quotes, he's claiming that he didn't do it. Man, I want to tell you this, my friends. I made a joke on Timcast IRL about how I'm not going to let my daughter watch anthropomorphized animal cartoons. Here's what I think is happening. Go back 200 years. You've got a small child, a boy. He's being raised by his mom largely as an infant. As he gets older, he's playing around the village, the tribe, the camp, whatever it might be. And then once he's, probably 6 or 7, he's helping his dad. He really is. Maybe his dad's a blacksmith. Let's go like an easy one, blacksmith, right? Little boy's hanging out, and the dad says, hand me that. Really simple things. And the little boy can hand him, some bolts, some screws, or a hammer or something. As the kid gets older, who is he surrounded by? Men. His brain identifies with the men that he sees. He watches the men interact. He is told he's a man. He then develops an identity around these things. Today, you have something different. With TV, you have little boys watching women. You have little girls watching men. And I think this confers an identity into people, and not completely. I'm not saying it's entirely social. In fact, I think it's largely not. I think for the most part, men will be men and women will be women. But for some men, like this guy, I think what happens to them is a combination of factors. I think phthalates, PCDs, and hormonal issues cause people to be transgender. I think there's social contagion issues. But I also think that you now have a society where little boys will grow up watching women explicitly on TV, celebrities, and they're going to be told that's what is praised, right? So for some people, not all, this infant boy watching drag shows, or not even drag shows, but like women in fashion shows and models, and everyone clapping and cheering, and is being told that's wealth, that's fame, that's success, they build an identity around it. I also think that's why you get furries. Furries are people who want to be cartoon animals, or at least they dress up and act like cartoon animals. Why? This didn't exist before cartoons. It exists now. And some people have told me, said, well, what do you mean, Tim? I watch Looney Tunes and I'm not a furry. Okay, good for you. That's not my point. My point is some people, a small percentage, will develop identity disorders based on what their parents put in front of them as kids. So what I see for like this guy, why would a black man want to be a white woman? Imagine this. Imagine this dude grew up in sub-Saharan Africa or Haiti or South Africa or maybe in Brazil, right? Let's say he had no TV. So he's in a place where he never sees a white blonde woman. He wouldn't want to be her. There's no identity to that. There's no, I want to look like that. Doesn't exist. You don't know it exists. So when he gets older and he sees them for the first time, he doesn't identify with that. He identifies with the people around him. But how is it that a 24-year-old black male, he looks like he may be mixed, wants to be a blonde hair, blue-eyed white woman? I think this dude, as a kid, is watching TV. He's just seeing nothing but blonde women on TV, or at the very least, largely, and they're being praised. And his mind, its neural pathways wire around, this is what you want to be successful. This is what you need to be. I think the same thing is true with people of all different identity disorders, because we didn't used to have this mass media and this multicultural stuff, right? That's my point about the multicultural issue. This dude would not have seen a blonde white woman until we start bringing all these different cultures in, putting them on TV, putting their pictures up everywhere, and then we reinforce in children, this is what you want to be. Not literally, not explicitly, but some people are susceptible to this. I'll put it this way. I'd be willing to bet with 100% accuracy that if you took a newborn baby and you had only people dressed up in fursuits and they never saw a person, that kid would develop an identity disorder and wanting to be in a fursuit all the time. So for a lot of these kids, I think, and again, it's a small percentage of people susceptible to this. They're watching these cartoons like Looney Tunes or whatever it might be, and they're seeing a rabbit act like a person. And their brain is wiring them. This is language. This is a person. This is what you should be. They get older and they're like, why aren't I Bugs Bunny? And so they buy these suits and they dress up like this. I think if you took a little boy and he was only ever around women, he would absolutely act like a woman. Now, he'd still have male biology. I think most people would still be masculine. Most. A small percentage would act extremely effeminate and adopt the behaviors of the women around him. That's why it's important that you have a mom and a dad. That's why it's important you get the balance of the masculine and the feminine. And that's why there are gender roles. But I don't know, man. Maybe I'm crazy. You explain to me. This is a wild story. Sad story, man. wild and crazy stuff we're dealing with in today's day and age. I'm going to wrap it up there. Smash that like button. Share the show with everyone. You can follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast. Stay tuned. We got more coming up. Timcast IRL at 8 p.m., and we'll see you all then.